While watching the Meet the Press panel today, I almost flipped. I could not believe what I was hearing. Bernie Sanders was actually getting positive notice. Bernie Sanders was actually being considered as a legitimate candidate who could win the whole thing, more so than I've ever heard on a Meet the Press panel. I want you to take a look at this and we'll take it on the other side.
I'm going to put up these two polls in Iowa and New Hampshire here of the presidential race. Top four in Iowa. It's a bunched race. Look at that. The difference between first and fourth is 5 points. Margin of error stuff. Sanders, Warren, Buttigieg, Biden. Let's put up a new New Hampshire poll that came out this week. Literally almost the same percentage numbers, closely, just a slightly different order, but margin of error in both places. Two of those four candidates are sitting U.S. senators. At this point, it looks like we're going to have a Senate trial during Iowa and New Hampshire. Now what?
And if you're in the margin of error and you're looking at what might make the difference in that small thing, it might be that you had longer times to sit in the living rooms of Iowans, which is what most people think it takes to win Iowa. When I talk to Bernie Sanders' campaign, they make this point that he has fiercely loyal support. And I'm someone who's covered 2016 and Bernie Sanders and then President Trump. I think what they have in common, at least what their supporters have in common, that there's really a visceral connection to their candidate there. So when I look at who could possibly be the person who is possibly favored here, Bernie Sanders, I think, could be somebody who could sit out as part of this and still retain his support in a way that maybe Warren wouldn't.
I think also the foreign policy issues, which haven't at all risen to the top of the debate, are going to give, I think, Bernie some advantages. Having campaigned against the Iraq War and now taking on Biden, let's see how these coming debates go, because I think that Bernie versus Biden on the war and peace issue is going to be a subject Iowa has always cared about. That
and they can be kind of dovish. Andrea, think about this stat that I like to remind people. John Kerry, Hillary Clinton, Barack Obama are the last three Democratic nominees. Two voted for the Iraq War, one didn't. Which one won the presidency and which two lost?
That was what I was saying exactly about Bernie. Barack Obama was the senator from Illinois, the Illinois state senator who came out against the Iraq War. And that is what really propelled him in Iowa, and Iowa propelled him through the next primaries to come.
Not only are they pushing that there's a possibility that he has an advantage now, they're actually comparing him to Obama and what led to Obama's victory. Are these guys finally coming to their senses in realizing that they probably can't ignore somebody like Bernie Sanders for too long if he is on the right side of history? And to think, are they actually predicting a win? What's the commonality between Kerry, Clinton, and Obama? Kerry and Clinton lost. They voted for the war, and Obama did not support the war. This is a time for us to take this seriously. And just maybe Chuck Todd has decided to inform Americans as far as what's really going on.